Hello, movie lovers. I hope you do enjoy the video. Bob for Bob's Movie Review here, and today I'm bringing my unboxing and review of Star Trek The Next Generation 4-movie collection. This one was provided to me for review by Paramount Pictures, and it does include 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and digital. I love the artwork here. They tried to keep it similar to when they did the original cast collection. It looks great. I love it for sure. Here's a look at the spine. It does have the Paramount logo up in the top corner. I believe that says 8-disc set. They got the little paper on the back. They didn't put any glue on it, which I don't like, because now what do I do with this? Just star field on the back. A whole bunch of pictures, but we got 4 movies here, so it makes sense. 4 iconic adventures for the first time in 4K. Fan favorite Star Trek characters Picard, Riker, Data, LaForge, Worf, Troy, and Dr. Crusher embark on 4 iconic action-packed big screen adventures, collected here for the first time on 4K Ultra HD with HDR10 and Dolby Vision and remastered bonus Blu-rays. The journey begins with original cast members Kirk, Scott, and Chekhov in a story that spans space and time in Star Trek Generations, continuing with a terrifying face-off against the Borg in Star Trek First Contact, a dangerous plot against a peaceful planet in Star Trek Insurrection, and a familiar old foe returning in Star Trek Nemesis. Engaging Trek fans of all ages, this is an essential must-have 8-disc set with extensive legacy special features. So it looks like Generations is PG, First Contact is PG-13, Insurrection is PG, and Nemesis is PG-13. Kind of interesting that they went back and forth between PG and PG-13. I kind of feel like Star Trek franchise will be okay staying in the PG-13 realm, featuring hours of special features, including text commentary by Michael Dorn and Denise Okuda. I don't know what that means. 4-part featurette, Brent Spiner, Data and Beyond, HD, Industrial Light and Magic, The Next Generation HD, Trek Roundtables HD, and Library Computer, and more. So these do include both Dolby Audio and Dolby Vision. Let's look at the case on the inside here. We got, again, artwork similar to the original series box set. They do have a detailed breakdown of special features there, but there's a lot of them there. Let's check out the inside. So unfortunately, we do get just plain discs. We got Generations 4K, First Contact 4K, Insurrection 4K. Now it does say special features, but I'm assuming all those are just in HD because they are listed as HD on the back. And then Nemesis 4K, Generations Blu-ray, First Contact Blu-ray, Insurrection Blu-ray, and Nemesis Blu-ray. What do you guys prefer? They did 4K Blu-ray or 4Ks and then Blu-rays. Like, I don't know. It just seems weird to me when they're always, when they put all the 4Ks together and all the Blu-rays together, but that's just me. All right, so I watched the first movie in this collection, Star Trek Generations, and I do remember actually when this one released, I'm pretty sure I went and saw it in theaters with my dad, and this movie kind of seems a lot different to me as an adult than, I guess, a teenager when this originally came out. It is kind of a good transition from the original series cast into the Next Generation cast, because we had the 5 original series movies, but no movies with another cast. So it's kind of like a passing of the torch. And so we start with a little bit with the original cast, and they are just a couple of them. They get on the Enterprise as kind of like a ceremonial thing, and there is a new crew, and there ends up being this spatial distortion thing, and it kills Kirk, or at least we believe it kills Kirk. Now we fast forward to the Next Generation cast, and this is picking up kind of after the end of the series. And so I feel like if you didn't watch the series and you didn't know the characters, you would be missing out on some, not that it would make it unwatchable, but that you would definitely be missing out on some of the stuff that's going on. And so we see Worf getting promoted and Data struggling with the fact that he doesn't have emotions. And so he installs an emotion chip, and it kind of makes him go all haywire for a little bit. And we find out that this guy is trying to get the Nexus that we saw in the beginning of the movie to come to him so he can go back into it because he's so happy there. Presumably because he lost his family, and there he could bring his family back and live with his family. Presumably. I don't know that it's ever said, but I think that's what we're supposed to assume. Now, of course, the Enterprise has to stop him because by doing this, he's going to kill millions of people, and and Picard ends up having to leave the ship, and Riker and the rest of the crew have to abandon the bottom half of the ship and just crash land the saucer, and it gets crazy. There is some action in this movie, but not a ton of action, really. I think they could have definitely made this movie a little more exciting. That's just my thoughts. I think Star Trek fans, they don't necessarily need all the excitement, and it's fun to see the Next Generation cast. I love the Next Generation in the cast, and so it's definitely fun to see them in a movie. Now, the 4K quality to this one, it left me lacking a little bit. I feel like a movie of its age should look better than it did. While it did have some vibrant popping colors, the clarity was not what I would hope for. Close-ups on faces, for the most part, looked good, had really good detail, but everything else did not look that great to me. I was definitely expecting more out of this, and it just didn't blow me away for sure. I would have definitely expected to look a little better, especially like that very last scene, or towards the last scene. It just did not look right to me. So I wasn't a huge fan of the transfer. The movie, to me, it is enjoyable. Could have used a little more action, excitement in it. The ending, does it make any sense? Like, I'm not sure this movie makes any sense, and I hate to spoil it, but so Picard and Kirk both end up in the Nexus, and it's kind of like almost like this fake dreamland. I don't even know how to describe it. And so Picard goes to Kirk and he says, we got to stop this from happening. Millions of people are going to die. We got to stop it. With no real plan on how, or any setup of how, or anything of how they would leave the Nexus or how they would stop it. I mean, they do say time has no meaning in the Nexus, but to me that means they can go anywhere in time they want in the Nexus. But so the next thing you know, they're on the planet just before the sun is exploded or whatever, and I'm like, well, how did they get out of the Nexus? Like, is that a thing? Like, they could just dream up any time and get out, or like, I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I'm not sure that ending really makes a lot of sense, or at least that they didn't explain how it was possible. So I did enjoy it. I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. Okay, so I just finished watching Star Trek First Contact. Now that we've said goodbye to the original cast, goodbye to the Enterprise D, and even goodbye to the Next Generation uniforms, we go into First Contact. Now, this movie starts out with action right away, and it has quite a bit of action throughout the movie. We see the Borg coming to Earth, and the Enterprise ordered not to help with the conflict because of Picard's past. And if you're not familiar, Picard was assimilated by the Borg and was then freed, and so they are worried about what an interaction with the Borg might do to him, or if they might use him in some way. And basically, Starfleet is not doing well, so the Enterprise flies over to Earth and blows up, or helps blow up, the Borg cube. And this little Borg sphere, which I thought was kind of funny and cute, that it was a sphere instead of a cube, comes out and it opens some sort of time travel hole and travels back in time to try to stop First Contact from happening on Earth. So that way, I guess, they would be more able to easily assimilate the people of Earth, I guess. Why is it so important? I don't know. So they go back and they start blowing up all this stuff, because basically the guy who invents warp drives is going to run an experiment and fly his ship, and he's going to achieve warp speed, and an alien race is going to see that the people of Earth have developed warp drive and are going to come to Earth and establish First Contact. And presumably this leads to advancements on Earth and maybe the birth of the Federation. I'm not sure if they really got into exactly what would happen, but this is a pivotal point in Earth's history, and if it didn't happen, then that would be no good. Now, as I said, this movie has a lot more action than the previous movie. Lots of fighting with the Borg. The Borg eventually come to the Enterprise and try to take over the Enterprise. They have like spacewalk fight and just all kinds of battling going on, which is a lot of fun. For some reason, this movie really focuses a lot on Data, and it seemed kind of like he had a pretty big role in Generations as well. Well, not the main character in either movie. Data seems to be one of the more primary characters, while many of the other characters, Crusher, Troy, Worf, they kind of seem to take more of a back seat, at least in these first two movies. I'm not sure about the other two. I haven't seen them in such a long time. The Borg Queen tries to give Data human skin and basically manipulate him into helping her by helping him become more human, which was pretty interesting. This movie overall, I think, looked a lot better than Generations. A lot clearer, crisper picture quality. It almost seemed at some points like it was stuttering a little bit, but it didn't bug me too much. I just felt like in a couple scenes it seemed a little off, but a pretty clear picture, a vibrant picture. I definitely did enjoy the 4K transfer on this one. So for a score on this one, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Alright, so I just finished watching Star Trek Insurrection, the third film in the franchise, and I really couldn't remember anything about this movie, even though I had seen it when it released a billion years ago? No. But I just couldn't remember what it was about at all. So this movie starts out with Data with these scientists or something and this group of another species, and they are observing this planet for some reason, and they have like these cloaking outfits so the people can't see him, and Data's gone crazy and he's like attacking the people or whatever and exposing the whole thing. And so they're asking for Data's manual or something to try to figure out what went wrong, and Picard and the Enterprise is like, you know, we'll come back and get him and figure out what's going on. And they're like, no, we got it. just send us the manual. And so, of course, this does not sit very well with Picard, and he goes to the planet and ends up recovering Data, finding out there was some sort of malfunction. But something smells funky about the whole business. So even though Picard is told to leave, he decides to stay and kind of investigate what's going on. He ends up finding a hidden ship on the planet, and and realizing there was basically a whole scheme to take the inhabitants of the planet off the planet and do something with this planet, and which again doesn't seem right. And so he kind of investigates more, and it turns out that this planet can like rejuvenate and heal and kind of cause you to live possibly forever. I don't know if they established forever, just an extremely long time. In fact, maybe, yeah, I think they said they were reverse aging, so maybe you could live forever on this planet. And this alien species and Starfleet have decided to relocate these people and take this ability to rejuvenate and help people or whatever. And they're also looking for an ally in this alien species. I'm not sure why or what they had to offer. I don't think they really go into, other than the fact that they would be able to help them cure people or reverse age people or whatever. Maybe that was all they were offering. I didn't really understand anything else they had to offer. And so Picard and the Next Generation cast basically have to fight against these aliens and their own admiral just to save these people and preserve their way of life. Of course, there are a few twists in there. We do see a rekindled relationship between Riker and Troy. LaForge's eyes regenerate and now he can see again. But it is a slower movie. There isn't much action until near the end, and I feel like it's kind of a move in the wrong direction. As a longtime Star Trek fan, I did enjoy it. Like it it was good enough. It felt more like it would be a good episode than a movie. And you go off of First Contact, which was super interesting, had a lot of action, was a lot of fun. And then you go into this, it's a much slower paced, much less interesting story, but I still liked it. I just think that it's not really as much for the masses. People probably would not be into it as much as First Contact, and just feels kind of like a step in the wrong direction. So I think for a score on this one, guys, I'm gonna give it a 3. As a Star Trek fan, I still enjoyed it. I still love the cast. I think they're phenomenal in this, and the story is interesting, but some more action would have made it a lot more fun. The bad guys, like, I just don't care for them too much. I just finished the last Next Generation cast movie, Star Trek Nemesis. Now, at the beginning of this, we see some sort of conflict with the Romulans, which I don't believe have been in a Next Generation movie so far as I can remember. But there's some sort of conflict, and the Enterprise is requested, and they go, and everything's kind of real secrecy, but that's kind of how it always is with the Romulans, so it's nothing unexpected. And the Enterprise is kind of on their guard because they're not necessarily friendly. And they get there, and there's this species, and I can't remember what they're called, but I remember ever hearing of them before. And Picard goes over to their ship, and it ends up being a human there. And they say, you know, they need their help. And so everybody's being real cautious. Well, turns out they're lying, as always. And it's actually a clone of Picard, but he's much younger. I guess they engineered him to eventually accelerate his aging, and then they were going to use him as they're going to take out the real Picard and infiltrate the Federation with the clone or something along those lines, but it never happened. And so, of course, it's another just kind of villain that wants to rule and take down the Federation and whatnot. And so, of course, the Enterprise has to fight this crazy ship that's like way bigger and more powerful, and Picard has to stop him. So, it's an interesting movie. It definitely wasn't one of my favorites. Like, I think it was better than Insurrection, but really not as good as Generations or Nemesis, but still enjoyable to Star Trek fans. I can kind of see why the franchise kind of died. They kind of peaked after First Contact, and then they were kind of they're not too great after that. I mean, okay, like, I liked them, but just nowhere near the appeal. Still another interesting movie, so I'm going to give that one a 3 out of 5. All right, guys, so that is all of them. I watched them all. I liked them all. Some of them were slower and not as exciting, but definitely I've always liked the Next Generation cast. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy the video. If you haven't already, subscribed for more videos, check the videos, and I'll see you guys next time.